The following program is a production of the New Jersey Bell Corporate Television Center.
People. There's a lot more that distinguishes people than age, size, sex, or color. Altruism, for example. That's something you can't see in a person right off. But when you're in the presence of someone who possesses that quality, someone who genuinely cares about others, who goes out of his or her way to make life a little better for others, the spectator soon feels that here is a special person. This program is about 12 special people, New Jersey Bell's 12 good citizens of 1985.
Hi, I'm Marie Torre. I'm a reporter. Most times when a reporter gets an assignment, it is to uncover cold, hard facts. The more negative, the better. In this case, New Jersey Bell wanted objective confirmation of 12 employees, including 2 retired ones, who give so much of themselves to volunteer efforts, they are regarded as too good to be true. I met with these people, talked with them, watched them in the environment of their community activities, and you know something? They really are too good to be true.
Some good citizens spend countless hours saving lives and caring for the injured. A sacrifice? They love every minute of it.
And if he's happy, sometimes he'll talk back to you.
Yeah.
Hi, boys and girls.
Hi. What's his name? What's his name?
Another uses electronic skills to communicate with youngsters who are withdrawn.
How about,
There.
you want to,
Others work with the disabled. When September good citizen Sam Taylor learned how to ski, he couldn't wait to show other disabled people how to do it.
I got involved in handicapped skiing program about 4 years ago.
It was 14 years ago that Taylor, an exchange layout assigner in Williamstown, lost his lower left leg in an automobile accident. Then, he learned that special equipment and instruction were available for amputees with the courage to ski, and he took to them with newfound joy. Once he had mastered the technique, he became an instructor for the disabled.
Last year I had an individual. He was a double AK. Double AK is a double amputee above the knees. In the beginning, it was a real struggle for him, but he had a good attitude, and on the 4th day of the clinic, he started to master skiing.
Why do you do it?
Well, the thrill that I had when I learned was something I want to pass along to other people and make them aware that there's other things out there other than even just skiing.
A different kind of disability, blindness, takes center stage in the life of retired employee and January good citizen Bernard Pryor of Cedar Grove. He is an active trustee of EYES, Electronic Information and Educational Services of New Jersey, where volunteers read articles from daily newspapers and magazines over a special radio channel.
Control. It's hard to accept that you are diabetic, she said recently. A lot of people don't want to know about it. They think it will go away, but it won't.
When I retired, I kind of figured that retirement should not be a dead end, or retirement should be another beginning rather than the end of a career. And while I was deeply involved in site work before retirement, I have become even more so since retirement. I think the basic determination is when you see the need of the blind and physically handicapped people, and particularly children, and their needs, and the satisfaction that comes from seeing their development.
So deep is the satisfaction felt by the volunteers that sometimes they go to great lengths in behalf of their causes. One of them, July good citizen Edward Ned Humphries II, takes off in a rowboat once a week, even in the cold of winter. He does this to keep in shape as a member of the Margate City Beach Patrol Alumni Association. Former lifeguards all.
You had any spills?
Yeah, I fell in the bay once this summer and
with about 15 people on the dock laughing at me, but the water was warm. I'm glad I didn't fall in today.
But no matter an occasional blow to the ego, Humphries, an installation and maintenance manager, is driven to his volunteer work by concern for young people. He and the Beach Patrol alumni have done much to introduce shell racing to area high school students and promote athletic scholarships.
I guess the most gratifying thing is the Alumni Association, because we have an ongoing scholarship for the kids. And I think there's a lot of kids on the beach that don't need scholarships, but there are some that do, and we try to take care of the ones that do.
The welfare of children, as a matter of fact, is dominant among the volunteer efforts of the Good Citizens.
Where's your nose? Can you wiggle it? Good, Candy. Can you blink your eyes?
Yeah.
It would take a good part of the New Jersey Bell directory to list all the volunteer accomplishments of August Good Citizen Frank Yondak of Gibbstown. He's a central office technician with a knack for creating electronic devices to solve people problems. But he derives his greatest satisfaction, he says, working with children, especially these children in Gloucester County's Family Support Program.
On a talking bear, that's for an age group, the younger children. And it's just a response you get from the children when they say it and start using it, and just encourage them to speak. I haven't had anything to compare with that yet. One little girl was very withdrawn, didn't want to talk, and once the bear started talking to her, and she realized I brought it in, after she played with the bear for a while and talked to her, she walked over to me, put her arms around me, said, "I love you," and something like that. You can't beat it.
October Good Citizen Louis Tibaldo helps children in a different way. He invites them to the Teaneck Volunteer Ambulance Corps and gives them lessons in how the service works.
The reason we're here today is to show you a few things that the Ambulance Corps has and to tell you a few things about what we do and how we do it.
Tibaldo, a customer sales representative, believes that these lessons can help alleviate fears young people might have in the event of an emergency. After the lesson, I asked some of the children what they learned.
I learned how what they do in emergencies, and that it was very interesting.
I learned how they could help people when they get hurt and how they could call the ambulance in time for them. I learned that an ambulance is very important and they have lots of stuff that could help you.
You can get a lot out of working as scouting, and I do that, and you get a lot out of working in other organizations in the community. But I've been fortunate in the Ambulance Corps that my presence at a particular time and place has meant the difference between somebody's life and somebody's death. And I don't think anybody could ask for more than that kind of personal satisfaction.
And here's another big rooter of children, February Good Citizen Jerry Hoffman of Dover, Assistant Staff Manager, Revenue Requirements. This time of the year, Hoffman is likely to overlook any snow accumulation and indulge instead in summer memories of coaching young people in sports. In other seasons, he puts in long hours on Little League baseball and midget football for boys and softball for girls.
The boys, it's very competitive from the time they get there till the time they leave. Girls, it's very carefree. They have a good time. As a matter of fact, they have such a good time that usually when you're looking for one of them, she's either on the bench combing another girl's hair or braiding someone else's hair.
Working with young people, says Hoffman, has given him a better understanding of children.
Us parents or the grown-ups seem to forget that kids are nothing but kids, and I think more or less we try to mirror our children to be like we were when we were younger, and we seem to forget that, you know, we had our faults and our ups and downs, and we probably try to help them so that they don't follow in our footsteps, but they're not going to learn unless they do, so I think it's made me a better parent and father.
The 1985 Good Citizens cover a remarkable range of volunteer interests, among them fundraising for a public jazz radio station. Newark's nonprofit WBGO, which exists on contributions from listeners, benefits from the volunteer efforts of November Good Citizen Mary Barnes.
You would like to make a contribution? And how much would you like to pledge?
Mary Barnes, a customer sales representative, also was a volunteer at Newark's Symphony Hall, but the bulk of her off-work time is spent with the homeless. Sometimes she wishes there was more she could do for others.
I come from a very large family, a very big family, and we had a lot of problems coming up. And we've been through a lot of hard times in life. And I think what I'm doing now is like when the people that were helping me out and my family out, not, I wouldn't say payback time, but it made me feel good to see that people cared. And I always told myself, if I ever got in a position that I can help somebody else, I'm going to do it no matter what. As long as I'm strong enough to do it and wake up every morning, if God's willing, I'm going to do what I can.
That kind of volunteer stick-to-itiveness brought about a new and much-needed firehouse for Pompton Lakes. March good citizen John Comets, Assistant Staff Manager, Payroll and Cost Operations, was chairman of the Volunteer Fire Department's Building Committee. He spent 5 years on its design and construction, an assignment that began with an accident.
We had a little fire on the south end of town, and unfortunately, while fighting the fire, there was a misstep, and I happened to slide through the floor somewhat, and I did a little damage to one of my discs. So I guess they had to have the disc removed, and I made a real pain in the neck of myself to the chief because I couldn't respond to fires. So at that time, there was thought of building a new fire department. So I guess to get me out of the way, they put me in charge of that committee, and I had 3 months of disability where I spent a lot of time in the library and reading a lot of magazines and engineering manuals and making a lot of telephone calls. And the final outcome was about 5 years later, we had a new firehouse that seemed to pretty much fit our needs for the present and also for the next 20 years into the future.
But Comets and the firehouse haven't entirely turned away from the past. Along with the shiny new engines and equipment in the facility sits a classic 1926 American LaFrance pumper, polished to a mirror shine, symbolizing a respect for the firefighters of that era. The old lifesaver still has a function. Every now and then it is hauled out to become the pride of a Pompton Lakes parade. Beneath these flags is something else of community pride, a memorial in Richfield Park to the Vietnam War veterans. It was dedicated last year as part of the area's tercentennial celebration, of which April good citizen Ed Coyle, Assistant Staff Manager Personnel, was General Chairman. Coyle praises the Knights of Columbus for the help they gave in getting donations for the memorial.
All of the Knights went out and raised money from the various businessmen in town, individual contributions, and in November of 1985, we dedicated it.
Coyle himself played a big part in the fundraising. Just one of a long series of activities he has taken on in behalf of the community in the last 15 years.
I only started when I came into town in 1970 from Jersey City. A friend of mine asked me to join the Volunteer Ambulance Corps, and here I am, 15 years later, still doing it and enjoying every minute of it.
Coyle has become so much a part of Richfield Park life that it's been suggested he run for local office.
Oh, I have thought of running for public office, but, I think more volunteer work is a little bit more interesting than getting into the political arena.
This morning we're going to try a little different method. We've been reading Charlie Reed's book on watercolors and different methods of painting. Well, now he's emphasizing contour drawing.
Our December Good Citizen's favorite activity since she retired from New Jersey Bell in 1973 is to work with a group of avid artists and help them make beautiful paintings. But to Emily Schellinger of Mantua, there is beauty in every painting. Such is her devotion, which is apparent when she conducts class.
It doesn't matter if Edgar Degas did everything in pencil and he never erased any of it. They say, I wish I could paint. And if you give them an opportunity, they can. I think anyone can draw if they're given a little direction as to just how to go about it. And painting and drawing is, I think, very satisfying. And you lose yourself.
Would you say that this is the route to health and happiness?
Oh, I think definitely. Yeah, I'm getting pretty much old age myself, but you stay younger by trying to do things for other people or with other people.
Look at this idyllic scene in Rockaway Township. Can you imagine a garbage dump here? That's what's being proposed by the state and Morris County. And it's not for aesthetic reasons alone that June good citizen Dave Mortensen and the Rockaway Township Environmental Commission oppose the action.
This is a very critical watershed area. Water coming off that watershed area empties into the Jersey City Reservoir, which is the drinking water supply of 500,000 people and the backup water supply of another 1 million. So what we're trying to do is to preserve this critical area as a state park, not only for its recreational benefit, but so that the water will remain clean for generations to come.
It's about 5 years that Mortensen, an assistant staff manager in rates, has been at work to preserve the watershed area. As a member of the Rockaway Township Environmental Commission, Mortensen has also promoted recycling and helped inventory the township's natural resources. Why does he do it?
You gain a sense of responsibility toward the community. Instead of being wrapped up in your own personal life, being concerned about your own personal goals and desires, it expands your horizons. You become, I guess, socially aware, more concerned about what's going on around you as well as the future. And once you get involved, it's something you can't stop with. I'm hooked on this thing for life, wherever it takes me.
And finally, the Good Citizen of the Year, Michael Facemeyer. This could be considered a symbolic picture of how and why Facemeyer, Assistant Manager Network Design, came to be the Good Citizen of the Year. It was construction of the Salem Nuclear Generating Station in Lower Alloways Creek that prompted Facemeyer to begin the community work for which he's been cited. As a member of the Township Committee, responsible for planning and implementing improvements in community services, Facemeyer recognized that there was much to be done in this farming and fishing community of 1700. In light of the area's rapid development, new plans had to be made for traffic, public safety, and the allocation of the considerable income from the nuclear plant.
We have instituted many new services in the community, services which we would not have had otherwise, they being municipal sewage, a project in which we are continuing to expand. We also have an expanded police department that is the envy of many in Salem County. We have an excellent fire and rescue squad, and also schools are a very excellent place to send your children.
There is also a new municipal building and a recreation area that would be the envy of any community. Tennis courts, attractions for children, a ball field. Facemeyer has spent his off-work hours on community interests for about 15 years, ever since he moved to Lower Alloways Creek.
I'm the type of person that likes to be involved in things, and I don't do this to make Mike Facemeyer out to be a hero or the good guy. I do it because I feel a sense of responsibility to our community. I feel it's something that everybody should take a part in, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to help our community in many different areas.
Like the other good citizens of 1985, Facemeyer believes in the importance of volunteers to a community.
From my point of view, it's very important to me because I would like for Lower Alloways Creek to be a good place in which to grow for my family and also for other people's family in the area.
This is what New Jersey Bell's Good Citizen Award is all about. People who care enough to work on their own to enhance life in their communities. These 12 are doing what their predecessors have done over the years, perpetuating the spirit of service. And New Jersey Bell is unabashedly proud.